Okay. What, anyone tell me what these are? They say we're talking about inequalities. What do you think we're talking about? What do you think an equality would be? Equal sign? You're right. That's an equality. How about an inequality? Okay, not equal to. Very good. That's an inequality because it's not equal. Any others? Something can be greater than. It could also be what? Less than. And then there's greater than or what? Or what? There are your inequalities. These are here are the ones we're going to deal with for the most part. Okay, we're going to talk about angles being greater than or angles being less than. Two things being, something. And if you look on page 276, it says for any two real numbers, A and B, exactly one of the following statements is true. Either A is less than B, A's either got to be equal to B, or A's got to be what? Greater than B. And that makes sense, doesn't it? If you had two numbers, they relate to each other in one of those three ways only. And there should be no headphones in our ears still. Ever. Now, and then they go so far as they draw a number line. And this is another common sense thing. They say, well, guess what? AC's got to be bigger than what? What do you think you could say AC's bigger than? The smaller part of it, right? What does AC also have to be bigger than? BC. Did you need me to know that? Nope. Isn't that great? And then they have another picture like this. We'll call this angle 1, angle 2. And we'll call this ABC. And they say the measure of angle ABC has to be bigger than what? The measure of angle what? 1. Or the measure of angle ABC has to be bigger than the measure of what other angle? I'm sorry, I didn't have that far enough up. That makes perfect sense, doesn't it? The whole part's got to be bigger than the things that make it up, don't they? Oh, and if let's add up here. They have this one, however, they add these to them as inequalities. But can anybody tell me what that's the same thing as, and why I probably didn't put it down, and why, to tell you the truth, it's pretty much useless. If I'm saying something is, it's not less than or equal to it, what is it? It's greater than. So I'm saying the same symbol twice, aren't I? Just in a complicated, confusing way. It means the same thing. Well, if I'm saying this can't be greater than or equal to it, I'm saying it has to be what? What's the only thing left? Because remember, we said they either have to be greater than, equal, or what? Less than. So if you take away two of these, what's left? The third one, right? So I guess they add this to the note, so I add it in case it's in a, but when it's all said and done, that's all that means, okay? They have a transitive property. And what do you think it's going to say? If A is greater than B, and B is greater than C, then what? A has to be greater than what? C. Why? Well, if A's bigger than B, but B's also bigger than C, then doesn't A have to be bigger than C too? I could write it the other way. If A is less than B and B is less than C, then what do you think we can say about A and C? A is less than what? So you can say it either way. What does it say? Well, it basically says if A is less than B, then A plus C is less than B plus C. Or it says if A is greater than B, or we'll say less than again, sorry, we'll say less than again, then A minus C is have to be less than B minus C. And this could be for greater than or less than, right? All this is saying is it's saying the same properties that you have for fractions. Or not fractions, excuse me, for regular equations. You can add and subtract the same thing to both sides, can't you? Multiplying and dividing, this is where the difference is. If you multiply or divide both sides by a negative number, what must you do? You must what? Flip the inequality sign. And I'm going to zoom in on that to make it a little easier to read. You guys remember this from algebra? Remember you divided both sides by a -2, a greater than, you had to then change into a what? Anybody? Like if you had, let's say you were solving -2x is greater than 14. What would be your next step here? Everybody stop writing for a second. I divide both sides by what? But what happens here? Because I divided both sides by a negative number, this right here from greater than becomes what? That's what I mean by flip the inequality sign. Remember solving inequalities? As soon as we're done with that, let's get our worksheets out and we'll just do some problems from our worksheet. Is that 7-1?
Yeah.
Everybody ready? Guess it's too late, if you're not. Okay, let's look at this. We're supposed to say whether it's what? Greater than, less than, or equal to. Make the sentence true using this number line up here. How am I going to find the distance from H to S? Look up here And I'm going to take the absolute value and subtract that. So from H to S is negative 3 minus what? Which is a what? Absolute value of that is what? Okay, H to N, it'd be a negative 3 minus, what's N? That'd be a negative 12, which makes this what? So what sign should go in between them? 6 is what to 12? Is it greater than, less than, or equal to? Well, there's your answer. That makes sense? M to H. This one would be negative 12 minus what? What's H? A negative 3. What's minus a negative? Huh? Minus a negative makes it a plus. So negative 12 plus 3 would be a negative 9. Take the absolute value. So it's 9. S to N. How far apart are they? 3 minus 9, which is negative 6, which is 6. So you got 9 over here. 9 is what to 6? Now, some of you could probably just look here and say, if this one's negative 9, this one's negative 3, that they're what? 6 apart, right? Up here you could say this one's, what do we do, S to N here? This one's 3. This, you know, this is 3, this is 9, this one's 6 apart. This one, I'm sorry, we had 12 and negative 3. That's 9 apart, right? But when you go negative, positive, be careful. It takes you 6 to get to 0, and then how many more? So S and T are what? 9 apart? So A to T, so you're 9 to T. So how many notches from A to T? 3. So A to T is 3. How many notches to get from T to H? Huh? T to H, to go from negative 6 to negative 3. How many you can go? Anybody? 3. What should I put in here? Think you guys can do that? Let's hop down here to 7. Basically say whether it's true or false. TS. Oh, it looks like we're still dealing with this up here. TS. Is it greater than or equal to FH? What is TS? T to S. It takes me 6 to get to here, then another 3. That would be how many? 9. Is 9 greater than or equal to F to H? F would be, takes me 6 to get to here, then another 3. It would be what? Is 9 greater than or equal to 9? Yes, it is. So what's the answer? True. S to T. S to T is what? 9, right? H to N. Well, that's 3. They're saying it's less than or equal to H to N. That'd be 3 to get to 0, and then how many more? Total of? Is 9 less than or equal to 12? So what's the answer here? True. Okay, how about this one? IM. What's I to M? Start at 0. That's 12, isn't it? What's H to N? 3 to get to here, and then another what? Is 12 not equal to 12? No. So this one's what? 12 is equal to 12, so we couldn't put that, so it's false. Questions there? Excuse me? How am I saying it's 3? What? Okay, well, yeah, I said from here to here is 3, right? Because this is negative 3, and it would take me 3 notches to get back to 0. Then to get all the way to N would be another what? 9. So I just said 9 plus what? 3, and I got questions? For the next ones, it's the same concept, except now we're doing what? Angles, right? GCD, or I'm sorry, CGD. CGD is how much? Huh? Only one person in this class can look at that and see that's 89? Wake up, people. DGE, measure of angle DGE, D to G to E, what's it? So, how do these relate to each other? This is what to that? 89 is greater than. BGC, B to G to C. How do I know what this is? What's here to here have to be? So, this and this is what? Together those two are 149, is that correct? So how much is left for this one? 31, correct? So B to G to C is 31. B to G to D is 31 plus 89 makes what? 120. So how would these relate to each other? 31 is what? Huh? Less than 120. You guys think you can do this? All right, we're going to do numbers 1 through 32. This is key. Write problems. And this is key. Draw figures. Show all steps and work. Do not give me just a greater than. Write this out. Put that in the middle. Circle it. Do like what I'm doing. These pictures, don't just draw me some. This would not work for this picture. And I'm not saying because it's ugly. I'm saying because you don't have what? B, C, G, D, E, and what? F. You don't have 31 here, 60 here, 89 here. Got it? Let's get to work.